Factorio places you on a planet where you are at first alone and expected to build a factory designed to harvest, process, and shape resources into the components you need in order to upgrade your factory and discover new buildings. But manufacturing these products also produces pollution, which slowly spreads across the surrounding land into the layers of this planet's inhabitants, strengthening them and allowing them to reproduce until their numbers are great enough to give them the confidence to strike out at your pollution-producing buildings. You will learn to protect yourself and continue expanding under the direct threat of these insidious creatures, or you'll bring the attack to them and wipe them from your borders. The choice, of course, is yours. However you choose to deal with your enemies, your main goal is to build a rocket ship, with the reasoning behind this kept as vague as possible, as the game does end with the rocket being launched. However, you are able to continue with your factory after, in this never-ending game loop of further factory expansion and hunting new resource patches. But without further ado, here are 5 things I learned playing Factorio that you may want to know. Number 1. Trees are your friends. They may be useful as an early source of fuel, but you're going to want to clear as few trees as possible if you don't want to see yourself swarmed with attackers before you have a chance to set up your defenses. You see, trees are the main defense against pollution in Factorio, unless you're playing with mods, of course. They soak up all the airborne pollutants that are belching from your burners until they are brown and dead. What is not soaked up by the trees eventually spreads until it is soaked by the enemy spawners. Number 2. Many pictures you see of Factorio show bases that have everything crammed together in an admittedly fascinating network of conveyor belts and buildings. But it doesn't have to be. If you are like me and you would rather have your buildings in a straight line and everything looking nice and neat, then you can set up a belt line of conveyors with all of your products on them, and then run branches off to the sides to produce new products to add to the belt. This should leave you plenty of room to build new additions to your factory without the anxiety of running out of room and having to rebuild. Number 3. Picking the best spot to build your base. Most importantly, you're going to need water to run most of your basic power generators, the steam generators. Water is also good at not only preventing the spread of enemy bases, but it also blocks the enemies. They hate water. The best spot I have found to build my factory is a desert next to a water source, ideally surrounded by large forests full of lovely trees. Number 4. Factory defense. The enemy mobs are quite stupid and will not walk past something shooting at it to get at the heart of your factory. The best defense I have found is to place a long line of guns a good distance away from your factory to leave a lot of room to build and place each gun within the firing radius of its neighbor. So even if a swarm demolishes one turret, it will move on to the next turret before attacking anything more vulnerable, like your power generation. Then all there is left is to run a conveyor belt with ammo to feed the bullets into your turrets and some power lines as far back as possible. You can even beef this up with some walls and add in laser turrets. It's relatively easy to branch off your conveyor belt and make another defensive line if you want to add onto your base, or if you are facing extra large swarms in a particular area. Number 5. Trains. Eventually that source of iron or copper next to your base is going to dry up, and you are going to have to explore another source of that resource. And while you can use conveyor belts and pipes to move pretty much anything in the game, Factorio offers a much more fun way to transport your goods, with trains. Fast moving and extremely hard hitting, you'll find out just how hard they hit if you stand around on the tracks too long. Trains are a much better way of getting around as well. With autopilot, you can click the stops while you're on the schedule, and you can sit back and enjoy the journey as enemy mobs are squished like bugs on the tracks. Finally, whether you are a pro conductor capable of handling many trains and tracks linked together, or you're just trying to make a single loop around your base to watch your factory from afar, the trains in Factorio may be for you. Be sure to experiment with the shift and click functions a little bit. Early on, copying and pasting recipes will save you time when setting up multiple buildings that are doing the same task. Late in the game, it is especially useful when you can shift-click your recipes from a factory to a requesting chest and automatically set to receive the products for the recipe set in that factory. Bonus fact number 2. Do not underestimate productivity modules. Even early on in production, you can make a much more efficient factory with the productivity modules over the other two modules. Speeding up a resource miner so you can put more smelters is good, but increasing the productivity of the mine and adding more smelters that will produce more and for longer with the same resource pile is better. Bonus fact number 3. Pressing the plus or minus key to change the size of the template when laying bricks or concrete. I cannot tell you how long it took me to figure this one out the first time. So, you got any facts that you want to add? Leave a comment below. If you found this video helpful, or at least you enjoyed watching, why not like the video or subscribe if you haven't already? If you really want to help me make better videos or support the channel, then check out our Patreon at patreon.com/626games. But for now, I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you next time.
With a controller in hand and a fire inside, gonna level, gonna take this right. Gaby's passion, he's always on the go, streaming on screen for the world to know. Every click and every move, he's in control, making videos, capturing the flow. Got his headphones on, lost in the sound, heart racing fast, adrenaline all around. In this pixel paradise, he's on a quest, no time for rest. He's always the best.